Seasoned cruisers lose hundreds of dollars every year without realizing it, not because cruising is expensive, but because experience creates habits that stop getting questioned. If you've cruised before, you probably think you already know how to control your spending. That confidence is exactly what costs you money. After reviewing former cruise worker interviews and real passenger expense reports, one thing became clear. The biggest money leaks don't come from beginners. They come from experienced cruisers repeating 7 habits that feel smart but quietly drain your wallet. Today, I'm exposing all 7 so you can stop overpaying without changing how you cruise. Let's talk about the first habit. Prepaid gratuities feel like the responsible choice. Most experienced cruisers select them automatically because they don't want to think about tipping during vacation. It feels organized, mature, and stress-free. But here's what former crew members say happens behind the scenes. Once gratuities are prepaid, passengers almost never reassess service. Even if service is rushed, inconsistent, or reduced due to staffing levels, the money is already committed. The habit removes awareness. Instead of tipping becoming a reflection of service, it becomes a background charge you stop noticing. Over multiple cruises, that adds up, not just financially, but mentally. You lose the ability to adjust based on your actual experience. The second habit is onboard credit. Seasoned cruisers love it because it feels like a reward. You book early, stay loyal, or use a promotion, and suddenly you're told you have credit waiting on board. But psychologically, onboard credit does something subtle. It creates urgency. Former cruise workers explain that passengers often feel pressure to use it before it expires, even if they wouldn't normally buy those items. Drinks become easier to justify. Spa treatments feel harmless. Merchandise feels earned. In reality, onboard credit often encourages spending that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Instead of saving money, it shifts spending into areas you never planned for. The third habit is the minibar and in-cabin snacks. Experienced cruisers know the ship well, which creates comfort. You're tired after a long day, you don't feel like walking to a venue, you open the fridge. One drink feels insignificant, one snack feels trivial, but pricing is designed around repetition. Crew members consistently say the minibar is profitable not because of one big purchase, but because of many small ones. Over a week, convenience quietly replaces comparison. And when the final bill arrives, many passengers are surprised, not because the prices were hidden, but because the habit was never questioned. The fourth habit is chasing loyalty status. Loyalty programs are powerful because they appeal to identity. Being a seasoned cruiser feels good. Status feels earned. But former cruise staff say many passengers book extra cruises or upgrades solely to maintain a tier without calculating the real value of the perks. Priority boarding, small discounts, or exclusive events often sound impressive, but they rarely offset the cost required to maintain them. Loyalty becomes emotional. Spending becomes justified, and value slowly gets replaced by pride.
The fifth habit is specialty dining. Experienced cruisers know the ship has excellent food, and specialty restaurants feel like part of the experience. But crew members say many passengers fall into a pattern of booking these restaurants automatically, not because the main dining room isn't good, but because habit replaces choice. Each meal feels like a small upgrade. Over time, those upgrades quietly double or triple food costs. The irony is that many passengers later admit their best meals were not the paid ones. Familiarity creates repetition, not value. Now let's talk about where most seasoned cruisers lose the most money without realizing it. The sixth habit is buying beverage packages automatically without reassessing how you actually drink now, not how you used to drink on past cruises. Many seasoned cruisers remember a time when they easily broke even on drink packages, so they assume the same logic still applies. But former cruise workers say this is one of the most common miscalculations they see. Drinking habits change with age, energy levels, port schedules, and even weather. On sea days, you might drink more, but on port days, you're often off the ship for hours, tired by evening, or simply less interested. Yet the package cost stays the same.
What makes this habit expensive is not just the money, but the pressure it creates. Passengers often feel obligated to drink more than they actually want just to justify the purchase. That pressure quietly turns a relaxing vacation into a mental math problem. Instead of enjoying a drink when it feels right, you start tracking consumption. Former crew members say many guests admit at the end of the cruise that they drank more than they wanted and still did not break even. The seventh habit is booking every shore excursion through the cruise line without exploring alternatives. Experienced cruisers trust cruise line excursions because they feel safe, organized, and familiar. And to be clear, they are reliable. But former cruise workers explain that this reliability comes at a significant premium. In many ports, the same tours are offered by local operators for much less money, often with smaller groups and more flexibility. Seasoned cruisers fall into this habit because it feels efficient. You click once, everything is handled, and there's no need to think further. But over multiple cruises, this default choice can quietly add hundreds or even thousands of dollars to your travel costs. What surprises many experienced cruisers is not that local options exist, but how similar the experience actually is. The habit persists not because of fear, but because familiarity replaces curiosity. The eighth habit is onboard shopping. Boutiques, jewelry counters, duty-free stores, and souvenir shops are designed to feel exclusive. Lighting, layout, and limited-time messaging trigger emotional buying. Former cruise workers say many passengers regret these purchases once they return home and compare prices. On board, everything feels special. At home, value looks very different. Convenience and atmosphere mask markup. The ninth habit is paying for connectivity and professional photos without reflection. Internet packages are expensive, especially for streaming or video calls. Photo packages feel meaningful during formal nights and special moments, but many digital photos go unused after the cruise. Crew members say these services rely on emotional timing. The decision feels right in the moment. The regret often comes later. The 10th and final habit is committing to future cruise deposits too quickly. These offers are framed as smart and exclusive. You're told you're locking in a deal, but many passengers later realize they committed before fully considering schedules, finances, or preferences. Former crew explained that urgency is part of the design. The habit benefits the cruise line more than the traveler. Here's the truth experienced cruisers rarely hear. None of these habits are stupid. They are comfortable, they are familiar, they feel efficient, but comfort is expensive. The most satisfied cruisers are not the ones who repeat routines automatically. They're the ones who pause, reassess, and stay aware. You don't need to cruise differently, you just need to cruise consciously. When you do, you keep more money, you reduce regret, and you enjoy the experience for what it's meant to be, a vacation, not a slow, invisible drain on your wallet.